there we go, we're recording. So what I wanted to talk to you all about today was really how the bars can contribute to you as an X-Men. As an X-Men, you tend to be aware of all of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions from 8 to 8,000 miles around you in all directions. So you're constantly picking up on all of this stuff from lots of people all around you. Okay. So if you imagine yourself as a radio receiving tower and you have a broadcast that goes around you in all kinds of directions, like spherically all around, you basically pick up all of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions of all of those people around you. And so when you run the bars, you start to be able to release that, and you no longer store all of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Now, for an X-Men, that's why the bars is so amazing, because you're like, oh, finally I have some peace and space in my world again. And that's really an X-Men's reality. When you have that sense of peace, that sense of space, that's when you're being you. Okay. And so what I'd like to invite you to is something that you can use to have that sense of peace wherever you are. Obviously, getting your bars run is probably the best thing for it. But you can't always be having your bars run. So one thing that I like to do is, when I've got that intensity of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, what I do is I just take a minute to expand out. Okay. And so what I mean by this is, if you imagine your radio receiving tower is only doing a meter around you in all directions, what you want to do is you want to bring it out and bring it out. And you want to go bigger than your home. You want to go bigger than your neighborhood. You want to go bigger than your country. You want to expand out until you get basically to the outside edges of the world, and further if you need to. You'll know when you get far enough out, because everything that seems so dense and solid and real will start to dissipate. Okay. So you expand out so that you're no longer the effect of all of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Okay. And from that space, you'll find that you can function and you can do everything with much greater ease. And that is the space of being an X-Men. So that's one tool that I like to use. It creates a lot of ease for me. And I know a lot of people that have used it that have been like, oh my God, where has this tool been all my life? So please use that whenever you can. How many of you, if you could raise your hand, have been to a foundation class? Okay, we have 2 brave souls, 3 brave souls. I like it. Okay, good. All right. So I know I'm talking about some stuff and you'd be like, what the hell am I talking about? And who is this crazy white man? So that's okay. Yeah, I'll do my best to fill you in as best as I can. How many of you would you say, are you aware when you walk into a room of what everyone is thinking and feeling? Raise your hand. Okay, we have a few more brave souls. Some are going like this, maybe. Okay, cool. All right, so I think I need to bring it back a little bit to kind of explain a little bit more about what X-Men actually is. Okay, so for some of you, you might be those kind of people that, you always have 10,000 tabs open on your computer at all time, and you flick in between them and you always get distracted by things. That's actually part of being an X-Men. Okay. Another thing that you might notice is that you'll be thinking about a friend and then all of a sudden they call you. That's also being part of being an X-Men. Okay. And so for a lot of you, when you walk into a room, you'll sense everything that's going on for all of those people around you. That's also part of being an X-Men. Okay, so X-Men has many different facets to it. And what a lot of people think is the most fucked up thing about them, the thing that they've decided they're so messed up for and they're wrong and they're bad. And that tends to be actually their greatest capacity and their greatest gift. So, what I would like to invite you to is to look at what is that for you? And what if you flipped it 180 degrees and started to ask, what's the capacity here? What gift do I have? What capacity do I have that I've never claimed, owned, and acknowledged? Okay, so everything that doesn't allow that for all of you, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Cool. All right. So, for example, some of you might clean the house, and instead of cleaning the bathroom and then cleaning the kitchen and then going to clean the living room, you are basically like a ping pong ball going, I need to do this, and oh, look at that, and I need to clean that window, and hang on, I need to do the dishes, and I need to vacuum over here. And you're like, that's part of being an X-Men, because as an X-Men, your greatest basically language is the language of energy. So everything speaks to you from an energetic place. Okay. So you'll be aware of an energy and then it changes, and that's where your attention goes. And a lot of us have been told that we're wrong and we're bad because we can't focus on anything. What X-Men is actually about is an ability to have simultaneous awareness of multiple things going on at once. So instead of just focusing on one thing, you can have so many things going on in your life, and you can be present and aware of them all. So everywhere that you have made your gifts and your talents and your abilities a wrongness, rather than recognizing the strongness that they actually are, will you destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Cool. So, what I would like to do, there's a few things I would like to recommend, and then I would like to take some questions, because I'd like to know as well, what would you guys like to get out of this little conversation? So a few things, if you'd like to write them down, or also I'm sure Olga or someone will be able to point you in the right direction. But there's a book called Would You Teach a Fish to Climb a Tree? And if you're interested in more on this subject, I highly recommend that book. It's written by Gary Douglas and Dane here, which you saw on the video earlier today. And then also Anne Maxwell. And it basically goes into depth on a little bit more information about what X-Men is, and how it can apply to your life, and how you can have greater ease in your life. The other thing that I would really like to recommend is a movie for you guys to watch, which is called Temple Grandin. And it's about a lady who is autistic, and she learns to create her life using her abilities. Rather than making herself wrong for how she's different, she actually creates her life in a different way using her abilities. And it's really inspirational. And if you're someone who is different and you're looking for a different way to use the difference of you to create your life, I highly recommend that movie. So, who has questions? Who would like to know more about X-Men? What would you like to know about? And it doesn't, if you think it's completely unrelated, it's probably related. So, what's up in your world? What would you guys like to know? And I think if you've got a question, you might need to come up to the computer to ask it, maybe.
Thank you.
Gone dead. All right. Can I ask?
Are you here?
I hear you perfectly.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Patricia, and if we had all this and labels when I was growing up, I would have had all the labels myself. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't classify us with the ADHD, bipolar and all those things when I was growing up. So I'm over 100 if you want to think like that. That's not true. But my question is, what is the joy of labeling these kids when nobody knows for a fact what is going on in their heads?
Yeah, so great question. Thank you. Basically, X-Men are undefinable. Okay. It's like, if you it's basically like taking chaos and trying to order it. It's just not possible. Okay. So X-Men, you cannot really label an X-Men, but basically, if you look at something that is so different that it doesn't fit this reality, people that function from this reality, what they've done is gone, okay, so these people are different in this way and these people are different in this way, so we can put them into this category in order to like label them so that we can understand them, so that we can treat them. But basically that's looking at it from a problem that needs to be fixed. X-Men are not a problem that need to be fixed. X-Men are actually leaders of the future, and they're also the future of what mankind will be. So we actually need to start to look at it from a completely different point of view. We need to start to ask questions, and we need to start to look at, okay, so what do these X-Men actually know? What are they aware of? And what am I aware of that I've never allowed myself to know or claim or acknowledge? Do we have any other questions?
Yes, next one is coming. Thank you.
Hello, hello, Saul.
Hi.
I was going to bring two precious people today, but they so ex that they didn't come. They couldn't be around other people, and they couldn't manage the sensory overload and everything that it took to be here. So my question is, as mama, how can I best support them in moments where I'm running bars? Because when I did my little boy, he's 14, not so little. When I did my 14-year-old, I didn't get to past money control and creativity the first time. And he said it was incessant itching on his head.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the extent of his sensitivity. So just touching his points, waiting, go, don't touch me, don't touch me.
Yeah.
So I told Olga yesterday, 2 days ago, when did I tell you? 2 days ago, I got to do a full session, an absolutely full session. And it was
Awesome.
absolute joy because I could get through the points. So I'm almost finding that I have to be an ex-mama so that I can almost zip through the 32 points and hold intention. And in my head, I was wondering how to surrogate best. Now, when Dane and them speak, they say something about you'd be able to do it 35 times or 35,000 times, 350,000 times. And I'm almost thinking that when I do other people, can I intentionally surrogate them, or is that wrong?
Well,
almost because I can't get those heads, want to please ask and intend that it be of those other heads that can't be touched, but so need an X factor.
yeah, so let's just, there's quite a few things there. So first of all, the bars is the beginning of learning to receive. And, for all of us, we're all at different levels of being willing to receive, okay? But bars will contribute to all of us receiving more. So when you're working with X-Men, X-Men tend to be quite fast, and especially X-Men kids. So sometimes doing, 15, 20 minutes of bars is actually all that's required. And you can go through the points a lot quicker with an X-Men kid sometimes than you would, with like some of your like normal clients that you would run bars with, or you know, like a friend or something like that, they might require an hour and a half or more, whereas an X-Men kid might require 20 minutes, and like that's it, that's enough. The other thing with some people is actually running the bars from a little bit of distance, so not necessarily touching like actually on the point. So you just basically put your hands in the same place, but you bring them out a little bit. And that can actually help them to receive with more ease. And then what you'll find is that eventually you'll be able to start to gradually bring it in until they can actually receive the touch on their head. So that's something that I've noticed and I've seen with a lot of X-Men that can help. In terms of wanting to help everyone else, the best thing that you can do is have as much fun as you possibly can, and let that be the invitation to people choosing more. Okay. Because, you know, we see so many different possibilities and we would love for everyone to have it. The greatest invitation that you can be is to live your life with as much, you know, joy and gratitude and all of the great things that you learn while you're running the bars. If you live your life from that place, people are going to want to know, what are you doing? And what's different that you're doing that I'm not doing? And they're going to want a piece of it. So that's my recommendation for bringing other people along for the ride.
Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you for the question. Great question.
This was Sally. So Patricia's asking the surrogate thought. Can you surrogate in distance work or the like, if that is the case?
Well,
just a thought.
Yeah. So I would say always know what's true for you. And if you find something that works, then use it. The thing about surrogacy is, for example, you know, there used to be something in Access called the universal surrogate. And basically it was about a job that you were given to take on like the pain and everything of everyone around you. So for me, I don't know if surrogacy would be something that I would necessarily choose, but if you find a way that works for you, then I would say go for it. Okay. And basically, yeah, exactly. You can't do anything to someone unless they would, you know, they agree to it being done. So I would say, like, use the tool of light and heavy. Okay. So if it makes you feel lighter, and if it makes your reality greater, go for it. If you get a sense that it's heavy or it doesn't create an expansion in your reality or anyone else's reality, it might not be the way you want to go. You might want to choose a different path.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, one more. Verena is coming. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Hi, Saul.
Hello.
Just one quick thing before I get to my question. Can you just explain the Brandon on that movie that you said, Temple? Is it Brandon?
Temple Grandin. So Gradin.
Okay.
It's got Claire Danes as the main actor. She's great.
Okay. So then
Yeah.
my question would be, if you say you walk into a room and you feel the energy of other people, can you maybe just explain really what that feels like, or what do you experience?
Yeah. So like, have you ever been having like a great day and then, I don't know, like your parents call or something, and then all of a sudden you're like, why do I feel so depressed and unhappy? And like, you know, I'm not really excited about, you know, living. So that's an example of perceiving, you know, the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that someone functions from. And as an X-Men, you have no separation between you and other people. You're aware of everything that's going on. And so often when you perceive something which is different to being it, you're perceiving it, you're aware of it. It's not actually yours, but you're just aware of it. You often will become it because you think it's yours. And that's why who does it belong to is so important. So you want to ask, who does this belong to for every thought, feeling, and emotion that you sense? And you're sensing it. It's not that you're being it. Okay. Because 99.9999999% of all of that stuff, it's not yours. Okay. And so this is why bars is so amazing, because it's one of the ways that you can actually release and dissipate all of this stuff that you've stored, you know, in your lifetime, in other lifetimes, and just throughout every day. When you run your bars, you actually let this go, which is why you have your bars run and you feel light and happy again, because you have space. You're way more of you. You're not being all of that stuff that everyone else does, all of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So one question what just came to me. Let's say if you come across with an angry child who hasn't had their bars run yet, can I just put my hands on the peace and calm, kindness, gratitude? Would that work? Just for that instant change, what I would like to have in his mind.
So yes, so essentially yes, you definitely want to ask them if they'd like to have it done, and if they
Yes.
agree, then of course go for it. And the thing about running the bars is it's not about creating a result. It's actually you run the bars and then you see what happens. So often when you're running the bars, like you might be having a conversation with someone while you're running the bars, and what you'll notice is the points that you're on, you'll be talking about exactly the points that you're running. The subjects will be, you know, money, control, creativity, for example. Okay. So often that will happen, but bars is not about getting a result. Bars is about creating a different possibility. And you cannot like if you go to creating a result, then you limit what can show up. If you run bars with no point of view, you're going to have a much greater session, and the person will have a much greater session. Okay. Because it allows for infinite possibilities to show up. So one of the things that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness and also X-Men, talks about is that autism, for example, is the question that no one else is willing to be. So what if you didn't live your life from conclusion anymore? What if you started to be the question that creates a different possibility? Sound like more fun?
Definitely.
Awesome.
Would
Cool.
you have capacity for one more question?
Yes,
No.
of course. Let's do one more.
Sorry. Ruqaiya decided not to ask questions from you. Okay. Okay. Can you come here and explain? No, you can do that. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, good day.
Hi.
When you asked who all did the Bars Foundation, my head is heavy. I heard who did the Bars Exchange, give me your hands. And that happens to me often when I'm in a crowd. It's like you just mentioned, the heaviness on my head. And I'm detaching, and as much as I'm detaching, it's still confusing.
So is it yours?
Is it? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, okay, so I want you to use the light and heavy. If I say, is it yours? Or if I say it's yours, is that light or heavy?
It's heavy.
Okay, cool. So that would indicate when it's heavy, it's usually that there's a lie somewhere. Okay. So all the lies that you've bought and all of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you've bought as yours, where they're not, will you destroy and uncreate them all? And that goes for all of you guys. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Okay, if you look at what you would like your life to be like, is there a sense of expansion? Is there a sense of lightness? Okay, so yeah, so anything that isn't that is probably not yours. Okay, so when there's something that's heavy, that's a really great indication of something that's not yours, or somewhere that you've bought something as yours where it isn't. Okay. And that's where this tool of, POC and Pod comes in handy, because you can destroy and uncreate everywhere you bought it as yours where it wasn't. And then choose again for the lightness, choose for the space, choose for the ease, choose for the joy, choose for the glory. Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. My pleasure. You guys are great.
Thank you.
It makes me so happy to see you all running bars and having such a good time. And thank you so much for having me here. I hope you got something out of it. I will be coming to South Africa sometime at the end of the year. And if you'd like to know more about that, please, contact Olga or Kelly, and they can tell you more about it. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day running bars, and I hope to see you again in the future sometime. Also, you can check out X-Men at accessconsciousness.com/X-Men if you're interested in more. Bye
Amazing.
from me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.